Hello and welcome back. We are here continuing as Prussia. Last episode was our starting steps episode where we kind of talked a little bit about local economies, building up specifically in Silesia and Westphalia, but now our construction centers are maxed out in both of these states, so if we want to expand, we're going to need to find new places, and so we're going to need to start spreading out and kind of going wide, but we have, up until now, kind of been building tall in these two states in order to have it so that our buy orders and sell orders are in the same state, and now we have to look around and try and find new states, like for example North Rhine or Ruhr, which have both coal and iron, which is going to be particularly good early on for expanding and this sort of thing. We can also branch out into the consumer goods, so that's kind of what's happened in regards to the specialization. Also, we talked about the unique the unique company of Krupp for Prussia, which looks particularly strong, and I think the forestry conglomerate will be pretty good. In theory, you should swap around whatever you're currently building for the construction bonus, but we're not going to be doing that under the assumption that they are going to fix it so that you can no longer really do this. We have also expanded diplomatically in a few ways. First of all, we've expanded a lot of areas militarily so that we have native interests in other areas so that we can get more options for reverse sways as the game goes on. Also, all of our expansion up until now in Germany has been diplomatic, looking to expand the customs union and not accrue infamy in the region. To that end, we're also trying to keep our relations with Austria in a band where we can declare war on them, but other than that, they're relatively high because we will have to get German leadership from them. But we want to eventually pull them onto our side after we have German leadership so that we can form Mega Germany. This episode, hopefully we can form the North German Fed. It will involve us going after Denmark. We got bricked last episode because the game is currently buggy. We're on patch 1.5. There are some problems. There's a lot going on. It's the 1.5 open beta. Military in particular is buggy, so we're trying not to focus on that too much in these videos. But anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so we started to play versus Schleswig-Holstein. And we got Austria joining on their side, which is actually fine because they're joining for, they got swayed for, I believe, humiliate us. I think that was what we had read somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where that is in the UI, but if the sway is to humiliate us specifically, not transfer either Holstein or Schleswig, then we will be in good shape. And also, actually, even if it's transfer Schleswig or Holstein, still in good shape because then it will still be under German control. So we don't really care one way or the other. We do want Austrian war reps and opening their market. Opening their market will let us trade more with them easier, allowing us to do a higher volume of trade later on, which hopefully would kind of allow us to maybe get something done in terms of customs union if they rev, or obligation, or this type of thing, improving relations. We've also kind of conscripted up in a couple of places, specifically where we have arms industries, because the arms will be cheaper for the conscripts in the areas where they have arms industries, so this made a lot of sense, and so we're doing it like that. Hopefully this war isn't too crazy or buggy or weird. We have put our guys on the front. They haven't assigned to the front yet. We'll see how this shakes out, and hopefully we get a decent war. Now this will mean it'll be a while before we can get German leadership, unfortunately, because we can't ask for it until we resolve the Schleswig-Holstein question, and so it's going to be another 5 years before we can do that, but that's okay, steady as it goes, and hopefully we'll be able to North German Fed pretty soon here. Or wait, I think we need German, I think German leadership is for Germany, but Schleswig-Holstein we just need to solve the question, and so we'll get on that. So timing was a little off. The North German minor nations will unify with us if we become the sole unification candidate, but we're at war with Austria right now, and so this means that we can't get this in. So this is a little bit unfortunate. As far as stuff we're doing, we expanded tooling quite a lot. We have auto expanding on all of these industries. We're gonna put this one on auto expanding too, and so this will be pretty good. But these starting to slow down a little bit, and we are kind of reaching the point where we want more construction. One of the big reasons why we didn't ramp up a whole bunch more is because a huge portion of our income is coming from Diplo packs, which are temporary. This 58k here is coming from Great Qing in France, and so there is a little bit of that. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to actually push the logging really, really hard here, and then once we're done with the logging in these states here, and then also the next state over where we're going to start building tall, which I think is going to be whichever one has the most iron here, which is going to be North Rhine. Once we push through all of this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to swap off of the company for the United Forestry conglomerate, and so we're kind of prepping that swap, and then we won't be swapping back around. We're trying not to swap too much because I'm assuming this is not going to be viable later on, but we're going to do that. We're also going to need to add extra infrastructure in some states in particular, and so we're going to look wherever we don't have quite a lot of infra. We are going to, where is this? Okay, I know where this is at. So we're going to put some in Westphalia. We're going to put some rails kind of at the front of the queue here in these places that are a little bit close, and we're going to look to also South Cameroon is going to have a little bit of a problem. Not too big a deal. We really don't want to produce millet here. That's unfortunate. We would really like to not do that because we want to get grain elsewhere. But here's the other state, which was having a little bit of a problem where we have gold mines. We do need a little more infra. We'll just kick one down there, and so that will be a little bit fine. That one's at the back of the queue. We're not getting a ton of infra there from Pop anyways, and so this is kind of prepping in terms of the industrial stuff, what's going on, and we will continue on with this war. Alright, so we have finished up all these logging camps, and so now we don't, the extra 35% construction on them will be much less useful. Also, notably, a lot of them have decreased kind of a bit in profitability. They're still profitable enough. It's still a decent industry, but they'll become a little bit less profitable when we decrease their throughput by going like BOP. And so we BOP the company, and what I think we were kind of trending towards or thinking about in terms of companies is this one that gives steel mill throughput is a big consideration, but also so is this one for the coal mines and the sulfur. I think we're going to end up using more lead relatively early on, so we'd rather boost lead. But we could also do the combine and metalworks, which would be actually kind of nice right now because we are stalling out with this Austria conflict a little bit. But mainly because tooling is a pretty good industry, and so this is another one to consider. And then finally, just in terms of what might be particularly good, or one that I think might be insane overall, is the Precious Metal Syndicate. I think is actually really strong. We don't have too much, on the minting front in terms of our gold mines, but this 10% juice on this represents 3k. That's not like a small amount. That's like another construction sector or two, and so this could all be, somewhat worth it. Rheinmetall is notably a little bit interesting as well, but I think we're going to, so it's between the steel mills, the metal mining consortium, and also this tooling workshop one. I think we're going to go with this one though, and the reason why is the extra 10% throughput on the iron mines is going to be nice. We're going to get throughput on this, and then we're going to also be, actually no, let's go with tools. Let's go with tools for now. Also, laissez-faire is even better now because it does unlock an additional company, which is going to be significant, and so we'll probably be getting the other one soon enough. But now, in particular, it's going to look a lot better on the front of the tooling workshop, so we're going to put one down in North Rhine, which I believe that's where we're kind of building our self-tall. Yeah, this is where we're prepping to build ourselves, and so we'll put a tooling workshop and a steel mill here, and put both on auto expand because we're starting to get ready to be building tall there, and then I'm certain we can add a couple more tooling workshops here and there. It looks like the profitability is not too high on those ones to the left. Profitability should swap up as we get the throughput from the company, and so this is going to be pretty nice, and also, it is not inconsequential that we are getting extra army offense. This one's going to be pretty nice for resolving this conflict because it is stalled out. We are going to have to declare war on them again, and so to some extent we want to resolve this as quickly as possible. We maybe should not have opened their market because we're going to have to push them, but it looks like we are getting a push off, and we're going to continue landing them with the kind of buggy landing system as it is right now. So this war is going on forever, and I mean, The reason why it is because we didn't notice that we hadn't designated a strategic objective. Currently in 1.5, if you don't designate a strategic objective, you won't push, which is why we weren't making any forward progress. But now we are, you know, unfortunately about to have 0 infamy, so that means we're going to kind of be decaying down on the infamy, which is a bit of a bummer, or we're going to be failing to. But also we've hit an inflection point similar to, or that is important in like 1.3, which is we're about to hit the economies of scale throughput bonus on the iron mines here. And so after this, and also in Silesia, after this, we will try and focus a little bit more on the other place, especially because, you know, we can't just continue to add construction here. We will keep it on auto expand, and we'll keep auto expanding the coal mines and this sort of thing, but then we will kind of move around. So we are starting initial build tall, and then we're starting to build wide. Also, we are coming in on nitroglycerin, which is going to reward us in the boom booms for having iron, coal, and sulfur, I think, are inputs. And so this means we will be able to build explosives factories here and here very, very profitably. We're going to put them down kind of a little bit ahead of time with the understanding that, you know, the queue's going to clear, these will be set down, and things will be in nice shape, but we are still being sensitive to trying to build tall in our specific areas, but now have added North Rhine to the mix as well, as another area we're trying to build tall. So we get laissez-faire, and also by build tall, I mean build vertically integrated, not necessarily pushing economies of scale, but laissez-faire is going to be nice because, well, okay, in addition to just being better, by the way, we're running a huge deficit because our Diplo packs have dried out. You know, in addition to this, we get to add another company now. In addition to laissez-faire, just the normal reasons why it's good, we are now going to get to add another company, and we're going to add this one, which is going to give us more throughput on the iron. It's also going to give us throughput on lead and construction bonus on lead, and you can see we are starting to become quite specialized, and we also have, you know, a little bit extra throughput. We get 18.5% throughput on all these, but only, you know, what is it, like 29 on the iron, or well, only 29 on the iron, so like our throughput on the iron right now actually just looks incredible. You know, it's coming on up, which is going to make these buildings a little bit more profitable, but also make the construction a little bit cheaper here too. So expecting to see a little bit of a dip in construction costs, even though we've kind of been adding some things, and so this will be good for us. We have industrial barriers, and so yeah, we have had a really nice, like, advantage here, and somehow we're not, you know, making too much progress. We see that, like, some of these are partially occupied, but not, like, very big chunks, and so, I mean, we're trying to also reland behind, too, for this sort of, like, to be able to get through to them, but it is a little bit of a struggle. Really don't want to just, like, end it now, because I would love to get, at the very least, war reps, but we still would like to open their market for the reasons we mentioned earlier. So I don't think this war is ending too soon, and we have a bit of an inflection point where we have to fight France, and unfortunately we have to fight France because they reverse swayed to make Hanover a protectorate. So we need to either transfer Hanover as a protectorate or release them. I think we're going to try to release them instead, but this is an excellent opportunity with radical France kind of popping up, and so what we'll do is we will see if they will accept a white peace, which I'm sure they will. It's really unfortunate we can't get the war reps. Definitely should have not put open Austria's market in there in the first place, but since it's going to be so long till we enforce on them, we'd really just rather, you know, kind of move on with our lives a little bit and do this, and then we can declare on France, because we shouldn't... Wait, why can't we declare on France? Oh, because we gotta finish up this one. So maybe we should have left it in a little while longer, but we are going to be declaring on France, you know, after we finish up some of these little other ones, other things we have. We are occupying there just fine. We'll be occupying there just fine. We do have to remember to put in this designate strategic objective, but other than that, we should be able to push them pretty quick. We'll just move another guy over just in case, but after this happens, we will be declaring on France to free up Hanover so that they can become part of the North German Fed later on. So it looks like France just straight up accepts our demands to liberate Hanover. So Hanover is now free, which means it's for us. If it's free, it's for me. They are now can be incorporated into our customs union. We're just gonna bankroll around to try and make sure our custom union is as expanded as possible. And this is going to be pretty important. We would love to get them into the customs union. Will you say? What say you? So we have Brunswick, we have Schleswig, we have Holstein, and these are the last kind of holdouts for getting into our market here. And so hopefully we can invite them to the customs union. We're just a little bit off. We don't have enough Diplo to maintain this. That is a bit unfortunate. We can invite these guys to the customs union, owing them an obligation, and then we can stop bankrolling them, and then we'll have enough Diplo to bankroll these guys, so that we can eventually pull them into the customs union. And so this is gonna put us in pretty good shape here, and also the large customs union will be good for migration, and they can buy up all of our iron and this stuff that we're super producing a ton of right now. And they probably are producing mainly more consumer goods. Let's see, what about this guy? Traditionalist? Probably not. We do not have a use for him. And so that's stuff that's going pretty good on that front. Also, we do want to get a law passed in. I think we're going to go for a free trade here. That's a pretty good one to go for. Actually, maybe we go census suffrage here. We might get echoes of revolutions sometime soon. This will help us with on the legitimacy front, and then we can get off of monarchy relatively quickly afterwards, I think. Looks like we have a couple reformers. Alternatively, we can try and get, off of onto dedicated police force. I think I kind of like dedicated police force here. Well, yeah, we're making good use of the authority right now. I think we don't have too crazy like this type of setup, so I think we're going to go for a dedicated police force here, which is going to be pretty nice. And now we need to do some stuff that accrues us a little bit of infamy because we're not decaying any right now. Well, doesn't that work out? They're offering us an obligation to join our customs union. So yeah, sure. We'll stop bankrolling you at that point. And then we also have a little bit of a peskiness here with Russia joining in a secession movement for the Han. This shouldn't be too big a deal since the way naval landings work currently, you just like auto get in. And so we'll just make sure to move over a fleet. We will deploy this right next to this, and so we should be able to get in on these guys fairly quickly. And then we're probably going to ask for Russian war reps, something like this, and maybe see if we can sway someone. Yeah, so like if we could sway the UK to our side, transfer it. Nah, we don't really want to transfer away Zulu, so we might just be going it alone, looking to pick up a little bit of war reps by like landing Alaska or something. Alright, so we cleaned up the Russia war, and then we ended up swapping sides and backing down in the Peru-Bolivia war, mainly because it was bugged and it becomes literally impossible to land with the way that the landings are working at this point in time. And we would normally handedly be able to win that, but since it's bugged out, we just swap sides and back down to ourselves, as it were. Obviously, this is the correct choice. So we're in a pretty good position now, just overall. We are losing money. We've been losing money for some time, but this is because we had lost several really big diplomatic pacts, and so now we are, kind of in a position where moving in a few years, we will want to form the North German Fed, which we can do after, so let's see, where's our truce over? 3 years left. So in 3 years, we can form the North German Fed. Getting everyone who is in our market will be annexed, and so this will give us a super big chunk and look. And so we do want to make sure that we get these guys, these last two holdouts, into our customs union over the course of time. So we will make sure that we are bankrolling them, and we have an obligation here. We're going to absolve it in order to bring up to friendly, so that hopefully we can progress that along if we get another obligation. And we'll just continue to look for efficient sort of expansion spots, and also, continue to stretch the building tall. We have a lot of these at auto expansion, in Brandenburg and here. I think pretty soon here we're going to need to switch to start making more consumer goods, but so far, some of these are like, the other stuff still seems really productive, like the iron mines, making 1.3, and they construct, they have 400 construction cost, and then if we compare them to, this, with like, a little bit, the construction cost is a little bit, more expensive. It's 50% more, and we see, you know, it's just slightly more efficient than this type of thing. But maybe we'll look to put these in specifically in, you know, areas like, so Westphalia is really, really profitable because Westphalia has already been built up, but we do have labor problems, and the earnings figure does not take into account, excludes wages. And so if wages are expensive in Westphalia, which they very well might be because there's not a lot of labor here, because we built tall here, it might be hard to get this up and going. So let's maybe just hold off for now. And this is also part of why we need to start expanding around in other areas, not just our ability to add construction sectors, but also we're running out of labor. And so, you know, moving forward, maybe the way to go is like looking, hey, where's resources, and find where do we have iron that also has a lot of available labor. And we see Posen, right? We know that Posen's going to have cheap wages, and we know that, you know, construction sector would look pretty good here, and it has logging and iron. So maybe we add a little bit of this, we put it on auto expand, and then behind that we add a construction sector, and we look to start getting Posen off the ground. Even though it doesn't have the same levels of vertical integration, we don't want to be bricked on the basis of population. And so this is kind of how we're making moves, and we're kind of entering a little bit of a waiting period until we can go after Austria. Okay, with our Peru-Bolivia acquisition, we actually pick up a big chunk of territory, and so we're going to, of which includes a lot of gold mines, which is tremendously important. We also can now turn on nitroglycerin, of which we kind of had prepped before, and if we take a look at some of the PMs, or the PM for it, we will see that in particular in Silesia is really going to stand out as being nice, because in Silesia here, as this employs up, we have access to all three of these resources, and so we're not hemorrhaging any inefficiency here in order to get these up and going. Might be a little bit too much spent, but here we have a ton of gold. I think let's take a look. Gold mines here, right? And so if we click on the gold and we show by potentials on map, we will see we picked up quite a bit here. Also, this is still part of our territory, which is super big, nice. And so we got a lot of that. But also, I just wanted to touch on you know, the fact that I assume this won't stay in the game very long, but currently these buildings are just overtuned and just out of line. The rice farm in particular, you might notice this is a level 1 with 9k employment. What they did in 1.5 is they doubled the outputs, they doubled the inputs, and they doubled the labor, but they didn't double the construction cost, which makes it kind of like having two buildings for the price of one. Rice was already the most efficient, and so what we are going to do is we have all these places that have rice. We don't want to flood the market too much with rice, but we would prefer rice be literally the only grain we produce. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have a level 1 rice farm in every place here in Peru, Bolivia that can produce rice. We will need to also put a little bit of a construction sector, or sorry, railway there, and then maybe a little one in Lima. Let's actually put a couple ports in Lima instead, and this should handle that infrastructure. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put the rice on auto expand. This way, hopefully, this pulls the price of rice down enough that the other grains do not auto produce in our country very much, and also it's just wildly efficient, and so we're going to put it on automatic expansion. We also might incorporate some of these territories as well, depending on, you know, how we want to do things. I'm not really sure which ones we would want to incorporate unless they have iron and coal specifically, so we're going to look for any one of those. Or if they have a lot of iron and logging simultaneously, you know, so like this might be worth incorporating because we could build a little bit taller there. Here, this one looks pretty rainbow too, but we might just want to be extraction style on the resources. Here we see some coal, but we don't have logging, and so we'll leave these be for now, but maybe be incorporating these kind of in a little bit. Well, we have a lot of excess bureaucracy right now, so why don't we incorporate, in particular, this one, which has, you know, most of the resources and can probably build actually, let's not incorporate it because state construction efficiency. So let's actually take a look here. So the ones that we could maybe want to incorporate, I guess, would just be La Paz only, because all of these are actually going to have pretty big construction efficiency malices, so we don't want to build too tall there, and so we can go more extraction style there, and we could, if we wanted, incorporate this and have them pay taxes. Don't hate this, but also it's maybe okay. There's a high level of logging here. We can maybe put the logging on auto expand, build some furniture here. The furniture like loops are not too totally messed up. We could also build groceries here because we know we're going to have quite a lot of rice farms eventually here, which is going to, grocery feeds in mainly grain and sugar, and so these are two of the big inputs. So why don't we just incorporate La Paz here, and then also come on the institutions and maybe take a look. Maybe we want to upgrade this. I think maybe we would. I think we'll hold off for now, but then we'll just kind of continue what is largely a waiting period / maybe cleaning up some more of these, looking to get more gold out of some places, and etc. Just want to emphasize some of the vertical integration on our explosives factories, which are wildly profitable right now because we are running shortages, is that it takes sulfur, iron, and coal, and what do we have in Westphalia? Sulfur, iron, and coal, and also in Silesia, sulfur, iron, and coal, in addition to lead. Silesia is obviously much better, and especially once we switch over to steel frame building, they will really stand out because now we will be able to vertically integrate glass here. However, this is just going to be good for now. We added some more of these to the front of the queue because we do desperately need some more, and also we're going after Transvaal here, which should be a pretty big quick dust up. We just need to wait for the rest of our kind of army to arrive. We sent just one, and we thought it'd be enough, but it didn't look like enough anymore. So, we will see. Actually, let's see if we can get good trade agreements with anyone else. Netherlands, Great Mongolian State. No, but here's what we're going to do. With the Great Mongolian State, we would love to pull them into our customs union. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look Mongolian market. We're going to see, hey, what do they have really expensive? And now we can export just kind of directly to them, stuff that's really expensive for them, with the kind of improved UI here. So we can export, for example, to them, send them tools, this sort of thing, and also we can import from them stuff that's really cheap, like fertilizer and fabric. I think we're already importing fabric. We have decrease the price of this. We'll just import this stuff from them, even if it's not necessarily too profitable, mainly because we're looking to increase volume of trade, which will hopefully make it easier to get a trade agreement. I think we'll just bankroll them too. It's not too terribly expensive, and so hopefully we can get them in, because there is quite a bit of resources here in the Mongolian state, and so we would love to over time integrate them. Actually, you know what? We can't integrate them over time. I forgot. Currently, the ability to ask someone to become a protectorate is broken, so we'll just look to get them in the customs union and maybe reverse sway them into being a protectorate sometime down the road if they have a revolution or something to that effect. We're going to deny the alliance, we're going to deny the alliance here, and we're going to continue. Remember how I said we were running out of pops here in Westphalia? Well, there is a little bit of a solution. We can start turning on labor-saving PMs, which I think we're going to start doing now. We're going to turn on rail transportation. Rail transportation is notably really cheap. We'll just kind of take an unpause and we'll see what happens to transport prices, but also this increased transport price will save us money on what we have to do in terms of having to pay out for subsidies, because we're currently subsidizing railroads, right? And so this decreases our railway subsidy as well, frees up some labor, helps to make these more profitable. So we'll do that all over the places where we have railroads, which is really not a lot. It's kind of just the Westphalia and Silesia for the most part, but we'll still do it. Now we're gonna add a railroad at the back, because I'm not sure if we can swap over with the current prices here, but we'll still swap most of the stuff over. We'll hold off on the iron mines, but labor is a little bit less of a problem here, and so hopefully this does cause a shortage. Rip the dream, Marino. But that's kind of how things are shaking out here. We are annexing Transvaal, but we have an eye for, we do want to go after German leadership here, and we have 29 months left until we're done, so it's going to be a little bit, but hopefully we will be doing that this episode. So we also did unlock some additional levels we can put in on the construction centers we see here in Silesia. Also, we're running out of infra in Silesia, but when we sort by which is the cheapest construction sectors, we see it is both Silesia and North Rhine Bahrain, where we have started to build a little bit tall, and Ruhr, which has had relatively cheap for the entire game, and then Westphalia, and then Posen, which we had set up a little bit. And this is, I think, the heuristic you generally want to use when deciding where to build. So we will add a couple more rails in Silesia, which again will allow us to use some of the railroad PMs as well. We are going to switch on to public trams, I think, here, and I think we're also going to switch on to public trams in Westphalia if they're not already. We really would like this to employ up, because when it employs up, it very critically gives us infrastructure now, and so this is an industry that's maybe worth considering for subsidy, but we cannot subsidy because we are on laissez-faire, and laissez-faire is giving us an additional company in addition to all the other reasons why laissez-faire was good before. And just to kind of go back over our companies, we are really into the mining and the tools here, which is pretty much universally where we've been building, which is really allowing us to pop off. And I think that all the guys in our customs union are, for the most part, handling the consumer goods, which is allowing us this sort of weird specialization that I think is not normally a feature for most countries, but for Prussia specifically, because we have such a large market just kind of at the game start, we are in a little bit of a better position for this. Now we will get Holstein as well, which was the last holdout here, and so now we have gotten every one of the German miners in there, unless I don't have eyes. Are these guys in? Lippe, are you part of our customs union? Well, it doesn't look pink when we scroll that. It just looks like you have limited market access. So it does look like we've gotten everyone. And so when we form the North German Fed in a few minutes here, it will be the whole shebang, the whole big one. So we've decided to reverse sway interfere here in the affairs of Kenya. The reason being is we would love for the British to get stuffed out of Kenya. This is the normal, like, meta ingress spot into colonialization. And we are mainly just looking to brick them out of Kenya more than anything else. But we did ask for we did ask for transfer this little snippet of Rift Valley so that we could colonize through there. It was around 4 infamy, and we kind of needed a little bit of infamy to decay anyways on this war, because we were at 2, and so this will help out us a little bit, and hopefully we get in on it. We'll see. We did send a lot of troops here. So far it is like kind of buggy. We had to demobilize some units as well, because you can only, as of right now, land with units that are demobilized, and so this is a little bit of an annoyance, and so hopefully we can get in on them, and then maybe get in on the capital, you know, something to do while we're waiting for this truce with Austria to burn up. Alright, so we get census suffrage, which is a pretty big inflection point. Unfortunately, now we need to think about how are we going to wind back some of our authority spending, and I think we're going to stop bolstering the Industrialists. They're pretty chunk and big. We definitely should have stopped earlier, but weren't paying, I suppose, close enough attention there. But this is going to give us an election, and the election is kind of determine what things are looking like moving forward, but almost certainly we're going to keep the trade unionists in, and we would like to be on free trade, so we'll get going on that one. And the war so far is looking pretty good, but that's mainly because it's like really buggy, and so like the wars are not like dynamic in the sense yet, because the landings are completely like scuffed, and while the systems like look very interesting, this is probably something we're going to talk about more in a different run once they are like a little bit more cleaned up. And so right now we'll just continue focusing on the North German Fed for this episode. Post-election here, we see one of the big advantages of doing census suffrage is you tend to be a little bit more legitimate. Here we're very legitimate, but we also do have Beijing for, the Forbidden City, which is giving us additional legitimacy. And so this is going to be, and we are also going to get loyalists from standard of living increase. Now 1.5 has changed it, so those loyalists are mainly the ones who are in government, and you see we have huge approval from armed forces and industrialists, and so it's possible that there's even some strategy where you're like putting people in government who you're maybe not as happy with, just to try and increase the loyalists in this regard. I'm not sure that this is kind of where we want to be, but this is just something to kind of think about, and we will be coming up onto free trade. I think we'll just sit on what we have for now, but we will be probably swapping the Intelligentsia in to focus on other things later, like, for example, going to freedom of religion instead of freedom of conscience, these types of things, and so, yeah. we will be continuing on. We also have an enormous amount. We overbuilt this a little bit. We're going to increase the law enforcement institution a little bit, and we're also going to, of course, make use of the new PMs here. I think we're going to go realist, and then I believe our Intelligentsia are no longer powerful, so we would prefer independent artists, mainly on the basis that, you know, we want to get the clout up, and independent artists employs entirely intellectuals, and so if we can get this clout up to 20%, this will boost society research speed and migration attraction. Speaking of these things, I think it's time that we actually expand the universities quite a bit as well, so we'll come down to Brandenburg. I think 200 is generally an inflection point. I like to go to EOS, economies of scale cap, and so here we will add up to 21, which will be the current economies of scale, although we are coming up on the next one, and then this way, this will be kind of good for us. We will also auto-expand the paper here, because it feeds in there, so it's a little bit of efficiency. We'd prefer to have a capital state that had sulfur for this basis, but really not too big a deal, and we didn't move the capital anyways, so maybe this is something to consider. Maybe we're supposed to move the capital to Saxony later on, which has a ton of sulfur, something like this. And they already have the uni built up pretty high for us there, so maybe this is an idea. Alright, well, interestingly enough, we do see another new mechanic here, which is the diplomatic demand. They demand the Rhineland from us, and if we capitulate now, we just get a truce. We're going to say no, we're going to say shove it, and then we are going to move some guys to this front and look to maybe mobilize a little bit of conscripts, where I believe, if we recall correctly, we do have arms industries, because this might be a little bit of a task. Hopefully we don't get too wide a sort of thing coming against us, but we're going to look to see if we can finish up the two kind of things that we have going on, and then maybe deal with this. Because of this, I think we're going to demobilize. Let's not demobilize these. Yeah, we're just kind of in a weird spot. Eastern Cape, we're going to demobilize this guy because we have to demobilize in order to land with the current iteration of the game in 1.5. Expected this to change in a couple weeks here. So we ended up getting kind of a bit of a wild diplomatic play. France declared war on us for the Rhineland. They wanted return North Rhine, and we also have transfer Hybridad and transfer Holzhon. This is what Austria got swayed in with, and we have this on German leadership and some war reps and Liberate, and we also managed to get a couple sways ourselves, but I'm not really sure we look in very good shape here. I don't really know exactly. You know, another thing is a whole bunch of our armies right now are bricked, because what happens is they're bugged out because so this Kenya situation is a bit of a shit show too, because they capitulated when they were winning the war, and then once they capitulate, it immediately unassigns all of our guys from front, which actually bricks some of our guys because they need to demobilize first before we can remobilize them, so they're out for like a third of the year. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do in terms of the war, but other than that, we kind of have like an okay situation. I don't know why the Great Britain still like wants to keep fighting this. I think they should wipe peace out. They're at -31 and we're sitting on home counties, but this is going to severely impact our ability to fight the other war. We are like fully conscripted up. We have a relatively large economy to like support this type of thing. You know, we have like Great Britain and then us, and then Russia, then us, then France, this type of stuff. We've had a pretty big come up. We're relatively large, but once we have German leadership, we should be able to form the North German Fed. And so while this war is like completely bugged out, and like, or war in general is like, we're going to try and fight it and try and see what we can do here. Probably going to get a bunch of naval landings coming in and try and make something work. I don't know. So we kind of have fronts everywhere. We're conscripting out of everywhere. We have several armies demobilizing so that they can remobilize. This war with the UK, they don't want to have a white peace at -58, so we're probably going to try and enforce on them either way. But this is like looking a little bit grim. You know, we're kind of getting pushed on all sides, but we're also landing on some of their sides with our guys who get demobilized, because this way we can like remobilize them, this sort of thing. Why did that guy get bricked? Did a general die? Where's this guy? Exactly. He's stationed, so we're going to mobilize, and we're going to put him in on the primary war goal, because we don't want to lose the primary war goal, because we won't get ticked down as long as they stay off the primary war goal. So this French war goal is probably the most important, and so we're just going to move him straight up there. But the other guy who we had coming in, we're probably going to land. We're also at war with Italy, but we're just going to ignore trying to enforce on Italy. This guy's in North Germany, so he's relatively close. So once the landing gets in for free, which of course is a bug, the guy will have to travel there, and if he could travel there quickly, he can establish a front. If he can't, he won't. We probably, we get one setback. We don't really mind the setback. The setback's not too big a deal, because we have a very high chance of bipping it anyways. But here you see, this is what I'm talking about. Landing gets in for free. We take the whole state, but now they get to assign guys very, very quickly. But it looks like our guys get in there first. Thank God for the Dutch kind of coming in clutch, and so that'll help. The conscriptable battalions, we have actively researched that. I don't think we're going to get field works before the end of this, so we're going to look to get a little bit of a better tech. I mean, we could go baking powder into some of this other stuff. I think that dynamite and steam donkeys in particular are going to be really good, because we're like almost entirely on like what is it? Actually, let's go labor movement to try and unlock, try and be a little bit more efficient with our stuff. But I'm thinking we're going to go dynamite relatively early, because we're almost entirely mines. But yeah, this war is a bit of a shit show. The war on this patch at this first initial iteration is a bit of a shit show. And so we're just kind of, I'm just showing it a little bit. They wanted us to transfer Sind. They will not accept a white peace, which is like insane. They are not going to, I mean, we would just re-land if they have a thing. But here we're going to demobilize this unit, and the reason why is so we can do a landing with him later. This guy is just at the North German HQ. We're just going to demobilize him so we can look to land with him a little bit later. Ooh, looks like we are pushing on towards Isle de France. We are so far doing okay in this war, which is a bit of a shock considering it's minus and red everywhere. But the AI is also not very good in here. The enforcement on Bavaria does hurt. This is not ideal for us, but we're about to enforce on the UK and kind of unlock some of our military here, and we get free trade, which is super nice. We probably want to fix a whole bunch of trade routes. I'm not sure we want to show fixing a whole bunch of trade routes. I think we do want to pull the Intelligentsia and Gov, though, now, and then with them in government, maybe go for rights of assembly. The Junkers really hate that. A lot of people are going to hate that. We kind of knew that was going to happen. Maybe we just do total separation. This will help to juice up the Intelligentsia a little bit, which will kind of help us to get their bonus. And it'll also make them happy. So now we're getting these guys their bonuses, they're happy, we're generating loyalists, and so this will be nice. We conquer Prussian, now Prussian Rift Valley, which is Holy Vortigor, which will allow us to establish colonies. Why can't we progress? No active interest. Man, we've moved interests and they've just deactivated here repeatedly, which is actually pretty frustrating, which is one of the reasons we got cut off there to begin with. I don't know why our interest keeps deactivating there, but we'll just put another interest in. And now we'll be focusing in on this war, which is, you know, not going very well. It's not going horribly either. I think we'll try another landing here. Now we automatically get in is the way. Okay, we have to wait for guys to demobilize before we can get this landing in. Hesse-Kassel is offering us an obligation. We don't really want it. So I guess we're just pushing on Isle de France. Maybe we're supposed to push Austria first, but this 40 stack, I think we are going to put in over here and try and, you know, push back Austria. I think we're going to say no to that again. But yeah, we'll just continue on with this shenanigan. Alright, it looks like France is about to capitulate here, or is on the verge of capitulation. We got in a bunch of landings for free on them, and it also enforces on 2 Sicilies, so great. We've liberated Brittany, we got war reparations, this is going to be nice. And now, what happens is every single time belligerent is kind of taken out, it takes everyone off of the fronts with this current iteration, and so we will just look, whoever's mobilized and big we're gonna send them all, you know, kind of to this front, and if anyone's under a 10 stack, we will demobilize anyone who's mobilized, and then if someone's demobilized, or actually, let's send this guy over here. Maybe he gets to do something useful. This guy we will not demobilize, we'll send over here, but this 9 stack is already demobilized and it has a general, so maybe we can do a landing here, and this guy's demobilized. So we should be able to land behind with these armies, yeah, and we can. And so we will do that with the smaller armies, which just get in for free with the current setup. And so hopefully with this, we get our fronts, yeah, we get onto the fronts a little bit quicker than they do because we're a little bit faster with the draw, which I think is really important when everyone just auto-assigns on both sides, which is going to allow us to hopefully, you know, push into the capital first. And we do see that we have advantages on both fronts. And I think we, for both of us, we do need the capital. And so this is one of the reasons why it's unfortunate Bavaria did capitulate, because Bavaria did give us an adjacency. I think we can take that. We are super overbuilt on this. We are incorporating Beijing, unless I made a horrible mistake. We are, yes, which will help to boost the Forbidden City even more. It's the Forbidden City. Now, we have landed. We're going to demobilize with this 2 stack, and we're going to demobilize with the 9 stack so that we can re-land with these guys again. But it's looking like we're going to be able to enforce without too much difficulty on these guys at some point eventually. You know, our economy is much bigger. Economies in general are pretty depressed. Oop. Just kidding. One of our major allies decided they didn't want to be in here anymore, which I cannot blame them. And so hopefully we can stiff it out here. I think overall we're probably got a little bit stronger situation, but... yeah, our colonization of Kenya is completed, so thank God now we have a natural interest in Zanj, which should allow us to, you know, do some things correctly. Oop, actually, we could also colonize over there. Another reason to annex them early, but the name of the game is having interests kind of everywhere, I think, and so we will get to throw down another, and we'll put it down in Southeast China, because you have to have the interest before the play starts in order to reverse sway, at least at this point in time. And once our guy demobilizes, we'll land that last little spit, and then we will completely cut them off from any sort of market stuff if they need it. But we will hold in for the long haul. This one might be a long one again, and so we'll see how it shakes out. All right, it's really seeming like we're having a super hard time actually pushing in on them. We do see that we have, you know, control over a little bit, but we're really not resting out too much control of the regions from them, and so maybe what I'm thinking we might do is give up this one here, this company here, and establish this company here for the purpose of just trying to win this war. Hopefully the prosperity is enough, but it doesn't look like the prosperity is enough. How can we make these things more prosperous? We're already fully conscripted and fully mobilized. I guess we just disband this and kick our company back in. The other one that we had, that was a little bit disappointing. Was kind of hoping that we would get something kind of going there, but I think what we're going to do is we are going to just add some more barracks. I don't know what else to do. It just seems stalled out. I don't think that this how this is working. I don't think this is the plan. I don't think that this is what I mean, it's just yeah, we're gonna add more in Silesia, like a few of these, and also in the capital. But I don't think the game is supposed to operate that it's gonna get this stalled out when we have like a 63 advantage, but we're just gonna add some more military. I mean, to be fair, we're like losing battles, you know, so there's this, but I don't know, it just seems super stally. I don't know. This is, I assume the military is going to be changed, and, you know, we're mainly trying to be talking about ecoing up with this run, and kind of doing some of the eco stuff, as well as the diplomacy stuff, you know, trying to get everyone in the customs union before we enter this phase, and then, look, Austria is, like, in Russia's customs union, so I'm not sure exactly. I don't know, I'm going to have a think while we continue to push, but I think we've already been in this war several years, so Yeah. Somehow our biggest army is now stuck at not fully mobilized, it seems. Okay, now they're fully mobilized. I don't know exactly how they demobilized. Maybe that was actually just a product of, here, we're gonna move them over to this side, but maybe that was just a product of, I don't know, like, I'm just, of us building barracks, something like this. Maybe this is what's going on. It does seem like, oh, maybe we need to upgrade, like, promote these guys to higher levels so they can lead more troops. I don't really know, and another thing that has struck my mind is that, you know, currently in this iteration of the beta, you know, it is currently not working with, cannons are not working, this entire shtick is not working, and so it might be the case, perhaps, that we need, like, cannons to, like, break these kind of, like, deadlock type things, and, like, I don't know, we've been in here several years, we're not really making forward progress. I suppose we could switch all of our guys to defend the front, I suppose, but, you know, it's, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out what we should do here, because I don't want to just sit in this for forever, and I do think that this is a bug, not a feature at this point. I don't think that, like, we have a considerably stronger military than they do, but we can't push in on them, and we are both stuck at 0, and so what's the shtick, you know? We've been taking Garibaldi. We've actually, you know, here we had, well, less troops to start. And, you know, maybe we could try and stack more offense modifiers. We could try and get, like, the armed forces powerful. If they're not already, they are powerful, and they're really happy, so we are getting 30% bonus on offense and defense, and 10% from the cars outside, and this type of stuff. And so, I think that what we're going to do is we're going to swap sides and we're going to capitulate. Not really in the spirit of trying to do a tutorial run, but I mean, I think that, I don't like doing it, but I just want to illustrate this stuff and do this for the sake of, we've even had a native uprising and put it down, and we're about to pass, like, an entire law pass in the time it's taking to do this war. We're going to navally invade this if we can. Do we have an army? Yeah, we do, because we stood them down. It takes like a third of a year to stand down, and we've stood up and stood down these troops several times in this process. We're going to get a naval landing in here, and we're going to finish that up, but we just can't push in on the capital, it seems. I mean, maybe we could set all of our guys to defend, and then just wait several years. I suppose we could do this. I kind of do think that the cannons are supposed to break some of the stalemate-y type, like, slogs, and currently you cannot build cannons, or they don't do anything within this current iteration of the beta, and so I think for the sake of my sanity and actually, you know, linearly moving on, or moving through this, you know, tutorial, we are going to switch sides and capitulate here. We're just going to go, hey, we give up, we didn't mean it, and then switch back to Prussia. Which I don't think breaks our auto-expansion. I think it breaks our auto-expansion if we annex someone by switching. Let's just take a quick look. So all of our auto-expands are actually dead, so we'll make sure on the rural ones specifically to have this one auto-expanding, and then we are going to have to come in and we're gonna leave that for the interim for doing the rest, but I do think emphasizing that the rice is really OP and should probably just stay auto-expanding. We want to be careful not to overbuild on it, but we do want this to be our grain supply for our entire nation. And so now we should get North German fed, and we get the unification here with everyone in it except for these southern countries, and so, which will remain part of our customs union here. And so we get this unification here, we get German leadership, and so I think we might just take the popularity, which is going to give us a little bit of stuff, freedom, equality, and brotherhood. Oh, did we really prop this? Oh, okay. Well, I think we're just going to take the popularity, which will be helpful, And then now, longer term, we do want to move Austria into the market. And this is the reason why we've been juggling having positive relations with them, is if we can get a positive relation with them, and then we can get an obligation from them, we can pull them to our customs union, or this type of thing. They are antagonistic towards us right now, but you know, if we can try and get this relationship up, maybe this will help. And so this is why we have been doing this. But for now, we're going to conclude the episode, or actually, let's not conclude the episode yet. Let's just look through some of the states we've gotten and think of, in terms of building tall, what we might want to do, just taking a look at resources, and see if we've acquired any new states that are both coal and iron, because these are going to be the states that we want to create our construction loops in. Or, you know, so for example, Saxony is pretty strong. It does have a level 80 sulfur, and it also has a reasonably high iron mine and coal mine, so Saxony will probably want to build tall in. Hesse is also probably a good candidate for building tall in. You know, a lot of German states are pretty good. You know, this Brunswick's also going to be a really good candidate here. We already talked about Hesse. The Rhineland is okay enough, because we do have the lead in this sort of situation, but we will want to fix up the economy, but we're going to do that next episode. For this episode, what we have done is we've formed the North German Fed, and we've also kind of set ourselves up to use the OP Rice. Did have a little bit of bugginess and slogs with some of the warfare, and the current iteration of 1.5, this may be as useful to you to kind of see how bad things were if you're watching it later, or how bad things are currently, because it's a open beta. Obviously, we did need to swap in order to finish that up, but this is the main idea between in terms of how you do it. You are going to mainly focus on doing it diplomatically, not militarily. This is really important to emphasize for forming the North German Fed, because we just get this very nice, clean, everyone joins in after we get them into our customs union. You also don't want to have a car that's that loud, but on top of not wanting to have that, you definitely don't want to start the German unification play before you get all these guys into your customs union, because this way you get to annex them all. And now, you know, sometime down the line, we can try and form Germany, and what we want to do is we want to make sure all these people are supporting us, especially Austria, because then we get the Giga Big Germany. But that's going to be something for next episode, along with trying to set up the economies in our newly acquired states. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and have a good car outside. Loud outside car. Honk honk.